What is expected is that graduates' capability to analyze relevant data, to solve business problems, regardless what business are we in, nursing, education, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, business problems, and develop solutions. Not only just critique and find the gap, no. Find areas of improvement, develop solutions that improves the output to help the organization. The organization do what? This is the golden nugget. Gain and sustain competitiveness. That's what the industry wants. Every graduate should be looking for a job, and the employer will look for this. Is this candidate going to help me improve the process and the business? If the business is more manufacturing and sales based, then will I be increasing my revenues or reducing costs or not? Service businesses is about customer service. Will I improve my customer service because of that candidate? They are looking to compete. Now in universities and educational institutions, some do compete and some don't. Are we competing with ourselves? Are we raising the bar? Or are we competing with other universities? Because eventually that's healthy. Our graduates are competitive. When they graduate, they are employable the fastest. They have the best career paths, or not. Do you see what I mean? So competitiveness is what the industry is looking for. Will this candidate or caliber help the organization compete or not? That it boils down to this. Okay? Now, competition could be local or global, but it's very clear if you read the Vision 2030, we are targeting the global scale. This is very ambitious, given the short amount of time. We need to run now. We have only 10 years to report results. You see what I mean? So we need to work harder to deliver the expectations. Students that have the capacity and capabilities to allow employers compete at a local and a global scale. So inviting some of those theories that we studied in the West, fundamental. We want them to compete globally, all right? Now it's the time for us to raise the bar. And it starts with the instructor, with the department, with the college, and then it goes up. Okay? In general, what the organization needs from a graduate besides their competency in knowledge in their specialty. Okay? Knowledge in their specialty is fundamental, transactional level. But what do they need more for them? What do they expect from them to be hired? It can be summarized into the 4 E's. Their ability to envision. Are they visionary? Can they write or develop a vision and instill it? Vision is a strategic skill. Can they envision where they want to go? Now, we're lucky enough that we have a vision, 2030. It's given. So we have a vision, and we need to make sure to deliver it. So the student's vision must be aligned with the country's vision. Otherwise, they'll be dreamers. All right? Of course, they can create, let's say, smaller visions that is aligned with a big one. But still, we have direction. This is where driving. This is where we are sailing. So, are they capable of envisioning, creating visions, and executing visions? Enabling, developing, or allocating resources. This is very important because I'm sure each one of you have worked under one leader or one manager that says, this is the vision, get it done. You don't have the resources, you don't have the time, you don't have the class capacity, you don't have even someone to help you, the PCs are too slow, okay? But I want it done. Is that good leadership? No. Enabling your subordinates and team to succeed is a key element to good leadership. And the industry is expecting students and graduates to understand this. So developing resources from within, training employees. Acquiring resources, perhaps purchasing SAP and Oracle. This is a resource. If I want you to do your job faster and more accurate, perhaps I need to purchase Oracle and enable you with that operating system that makes it faster. If I did, I'm enabling you to succeed implementing the university strategy so we can all compete. But to ask of you to achieve the vision with no enabling, that's bad. Okay? That's management but not leadership. That's what the difference. You have managers, but then you have leaders. Those who enable their subordinates and peers to achieve the goals and the aspired goals. Energizing. The ability of an individual to motivate. You can be trained all you want. You can have the highest degree from MIT and Oxford. But if you fail to inspire your human elements within the system, you're gone. And there's a lot of people who are highly skilled when it comes to their transactional level, their knowledge based, they are genius. They have no problem with the theory that's been taught in the school. But when it comes to motivating people and dealing with a team, they're terrible. Teamwork, the ability to work with others, especially from different cultures. It's a fundamental competency that is required by the industry. If they don't know how to work in teams, they can only work with books and computers on their own. This is not what the industry needs. Okay? The industry actually is willing to compromise the GPA to look for other skills that would allow the business to thrive. You see what I'm trying to say here? Now, do we have that ingrained into our training system, educational system? Last one, enrolling, orchestrating. Their ability to orchestrate the development and pull and follow through with the vision to deliver the results the organization needs, not what personal needs. You see what I mean? And now you're coming with hidden agendas. Am I delivering vision for my own individualistic approach, or am I thinking of we all win, not only me? All right?
That's contrasted with critical thinking.
Oh, absolutely. But again, I can be critical, but I have a hidden agenda for me to win. I don't care about my team. Okay? It's individualism versus collectivism, the old dilemma. And all theories have evidence that that works and that works. But what we need is teamwork, working effectively with others, respecting each other's, competency evaluation and appraisal for the team. All of that requires higher skills than basic theoretical knowledge. And the bar is high. And this is what the industry is needing now for Vision 2030, so we can improve our current status and compete globally. It's so ambitious. All right. Now let's take it further. We understood what leadership means. We understood how leaders behave. Now let's talk about the distinction between the traditional leadership and what is expected. What is going to make our students excel? Only knowledge, or is it there is something else? We need to frame it, to understand it, to measure it, and then backward engineer that into our system so we can produce it every time. Okay? So I had to invite strategic leadership into the formula. Why is it different? Strategic leadership had two types: transactional leadership and transformational leadership. Two different types. Sorry. We'll skip that. I'll go to this. All right? Transactional strategic leadership, task-oriented. You're focusing on the task, the theory that they are being taught at school. You have to know how to use the formula to do that calculation. All right? It's important. You cannot ignore it. Knowledge, it promotes knowledge sharing, existing knowledge. All right? What we do as instructors, we are transferring existing knowledge for undergraduates. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's a stage. So it promotes, it's basically transactional strategic leadership, set explicit and practical goals, operational oriented, internal processes oriented, outcome based. It's focusing on the units and components of a process. How can you perfect small tasks, small transactions? And this is what I think bachelor degree education is about. Making sure that they know how to calculate, know how to apply the theory at a transactional level. Do as they are told to do effectively. All right? Now, transformational is self-explanatory. Not only do that and deliver the theory, but help change. Okay, now we're talking about two different levels. They're already good at the transaction level, but we want more, transformational. So they can do that and think outside the box to change and improve what they know for themselves and for the organization, of course. Transformational leadership focuses on process, not task. Promotes knowledge creation, not sharing. I'm not saying that knowledge sharing is bad. I'm saying it's a stage. Share knowledge, and then they should be expected to create knowledge in their field, of course. So transformational strategic leadership promotes change. That is fundamental. And what it's fundamental to leadership and to critical thinking, but it has one problem. We're talking about human beings here. We're not talking about machines that you can upgrade and plug and play and you have a new software that can function well. We're talking about human beings who have hidden agendas and commonly resist change in all specialties. We resist change. Humans do not like change. Why fix it when it's not broken? What are you doing? We've been doing this job for 20 years. Now we want to change? No, thank you very much. I got used to this. This is my comfort zone. So it takes a type of person and a type of institution to promote change. Okay? That's a huge step. All right? So traditional education lies within the transactional leadership. Transformational leadership is a different level. Promotes change, pressure, guidance during instability. Can you function within crises? Because crises is an opportunity to learn, not to fail. Okay? Can you function within crises? Charismatic characteristics. Leaders who happens to be transformational must have charisma. Okay, now I'm pulling it off. How can you teach charisma? No leaders in history lacks charisma. Can we teach that? Can we replicate that? How can you teach a student to be charismatic? Perhaps. Absolutely. I don't know. Is it? Charisma. No leader can lack charisma. They will never succeed because now we're talking about human beings and phenomena that are not yet explained by scientific research. Charisma, energy, the ability to inspire others and brainwash them with my dream. Enable them with the resources so they can mobilize themselves and their lives and all what they care about to achieve my goal. All right? And that is so tricky because Hitler was a very charismatic individual. You see what I mean? Charisma does magic. But charisma is also fundamental for transformational leadership. Those who like and aspire for change must inspire others to believe in their cause. Because we do not like change by default. Intellectual stimulation. Not just passing you a piece of information, copy and paste. Intellectual stimulation. Help individuals to transcend their self-interest for the larger good. Now that's tricky. Think of others before you think of yourself. Think of the group benefit, the indiscriminate public benefit before you think of your own interest. That's what a transformational leadership should be. Because if they don't, and the individuals he or she's supposed to lead, know that they're only in for their own interest, the formula breaks down. I will not follow you. You're in for your own best interest. You're not here for the group. Okay? But in order to transform and change, your team must believe that you are also benefiting them. putting their self-interest, their interest before yours. You see what I mean? Now, this is not basic knowledge, is it? This is not what we teach in traditional schools. But students must know, in order to be a transformational leader, which the economy needs and the industry needs, you need to demonstrate your capabilities in a different way. Not only be good at math, not only be good at the science and the theory. That's not enough. Okay? You need to be more. Now, whether the student is ready and want to do more, it's their choice. But we need to tell them what to expect. All right? Now, this is getting a bit deeper. Exercise. What do our students have, what purpose do our students have upon graduation? When I say purpose, transactional or transformational? In your own specialty. Some students would say, you know what, I studied that, I want to be exactly that. I don't want the stress. I don't want the hassle of changing and keep changing and evolving. It's painful. Evolution is supposed to be painful. You have to expose yourself to heat and pressure and all levels of constraints and pain to grow wings. Okay? And the process of natural selection will select few and the others will perish. I'm not saying that all of them are capable of transforming. I'm saying that there few can manage. And what the economy needs is few. Okay? So, what do we need to do to develop students with either or both purposes? Transactional or transformational or both. Okay? Some institutions, they only focus on the transactional level. Competency, knowledge, exams, GPAs, this is it. And some institutions, global institutions, they think further. They assume responsibility of the success of their graduates in the industry. And that's why when you see good Western universities, they actually have an alumni office that chases and tracks students. Where are you now after 5 years? What title do you possess? How much money are you making? What is your revenue? Why? Because they want to check. That is strategy evaluation. They want to check that the method and the mechanism that we built producing the results that we aspire to, or we were wrong, which is very possible. Do we have that here? Because we need to check. I'm not saying the reason behind that is to show you that there's no formula. The experimentation is needed. We need to check. We need to implement and we need to evaluate at the end. Did we do a good job after implementation? There's always an area of improvement. We need to grow, we need to change. But for the sake for our students, for the sake of our economy, we need to produce what the economy needs. Okay? Yes. 5? Okay. Again, when it comes to purpose, you have contingency factors. Family, institutions, and the industry. All those three silos or categories influence purpose. I'm sure that in every society you'll find families, excuse me for saying that, but brainwashing their students, their children, to be doctors, engineers, or pilots. Otherwise, you're second class. In every society you'll find certain titles and jobs that are respected and the others are second class. In the Middle East we like engineers, we like doctors, and we like pilots. And perhaps lawyers. Other than that, it's second class. What is that? You are basically brainwashing your children with purpose. All right? Which is fine. You're giving them purpose. But where does it stand between transactional and transformational leadership? And where are they going to end? And are they going to contribute to the success of 2030? Are you mapping this backward? Can you map this backward? Be a lawyer. Be a female lawyer, because time will come for you to assume responsibility. Be ready. I would love it if my daughter is a lawyer or a judge. Can a female be judge? Yes, it will be. Very soon. Are you ready? The females need to be ready. The students need to be ready and knowing that they have opportunity. The country is opening those channels for them. You need to align yourself with where we're going to achieve results. We are part of that program. We are part of that mechanism. The channels go through us. Can we orchestrate the process? Or we can't. We have to. It's very tricky. That's why family has a role to play. Institutions have a role to play. Us, the industry, will tell you what do they need. If we don't need any software engineers, we'll tell you. Trust me. If we don't need students who are only capable of copying and pasting, memorization and regurgitation, we'll tell you. That's why you have students with lower GPAs, average GPAs, assuming better positions than 4.0s and excellent students. Why? Why is this? Doesn't the industry need nerds? Doesn't the industry need students who are geniuses in science and having 4.0 GPAs? Yes, but it wants something else as well. The industry is greedy. The industry wants something else. Can we factor this into our education so we can prepare our students to have both transactional level and transformational level so they can be employable, they can succeed, they can help the organization grow, they can help the organizations compete and contribute to the economy according to Vision 2030, becoming more global. There's a role for us to play. Everyone in their own specialty will have to find room to infuse that. So the students must know. Tell your student, this is what is expected of you. When you graduate, this is the industry. This is what they're going to be looking for. We owe it to them. If they decide to move otherwise, we cannot control the world. But we can streamline ourselves with the direction of the country so we can produce what the country needs. That's all I'm saying. All right. So, how are we doing so far? Is it interesting enough? Mind-boggling? Intellectually stimulating? Because there isn't a clear answer. Any questions about these provocative ones? Especially the last one? Can we involve concept of strategic leadership as part of the learning outcomes of academic courses? Is it possible? How possible is that? To test both sides of the transactional level that involves the knowledge-based and the theory and the basic theory, and test their ability to think outside the box, to test their ability to transform knowledge being given. Can we do that? Of course, each specialty has its own room to implement that. There isn't one formula that fits all. That's why I'm banking on your expertise to go back to your departments and try to tailor that into courses, whether in each individual course or maybe perhaps in electives, perhaps in social projects. There's so many initiatives that your colleges and departments could lead to allow students practice that and actually to offer them the concept of this is what's expected. This is how you become more competitive as a graduate. Okay? This is what you need to add to your CV to be more employable. You see what I mean? There's so much room, and it's completely up to you, and your ability to progress is up to the college, and I'm afraid it's up to the leadership, okay, of your college. Are you allowed to do this? Will you be given the room to do this? Oh, you cannot change that. You see what I mean? So, and colleges are different, depending on the management style. Some management style are authoritarian, dictatorship style, and we know that. And some of them are more democratic. They'd like to hear, they'd like to grow, they'd like you to identify areas of improvement, develop a solution and show it to them. If they're convinced, then good. It depends, all right? So there isn't one formula that fits all. Now, generally speaking, then what could be the general suggestions? And I'm keeping it general because I will not claim that I know what needs to be done in every specialty. We're talking generally speaking. What could be the possible suggestions that could take us forward? To upgrade educational assessment criteria towards critical thinking, problem solving, knowledge creation, rather than traditional memorization and regurgitation. Yeah? To change it towards that. I'm not saying you need to scrap what we have and what the processes we know. No, this is madness. Okay? There's no one who knows the educational processes that would suggest all of what we're doing is nothing. We need to reinvent the wheel. This is madness. All I'm saying is lean it towards that direction. Okay? Test your students' ability to, of course, there has to be a level of memorization in every course. There has to be. Okay? But also be able to test the performance of your students. Can they memorize and apply the theory? Can they take it forward? Are they creative enough to solve problems? Not just copy and paste. All right? Lean it towards there. Try to infuse within your assessment criteria so the students would know, I performed well in this area because I could apply the theory I was taught. I excelled because I've managed to demonstrate that part. Once they know what they're expected through the assignments, through the performance criteria, they get the point. Oh, this must be what's expected in the industry. Immediately. You don't have to tell them. You just prepare them. But you can also enforce that. I'm sorry, you're expected to do this and this. It's not enough just to be good in theory and just, process and do mathematical equations as I told you to do. No, I want you to do more. The industry is expecting more. So if they don't score as high, they know why. And you are the king of the castle and the queen of the castle, sorry. King and queen of the castle. You set the rules, and there's always room for every instructor to be creative without destroying the general framework, isn't it? We all have that. Discretionary control. We can do that, infuse that to the best of our ability and push it forward. And if even better, collect information about change before and after. And then maybe take these reports to the supervisor, the leader, or even the dean. Look what I've done. Can we make this standard operating procedures or not? See what I mean? So there is a way to do it. Also, the suggestion is to upgrade instructional capabilities towards convincing and negotiation skills to foster critical thinking based education. That's what we're trying to do, is for the instructor to be tolerant to critical thinking. Of course there has to be some control, but we need to give some room, controlled room with a clear framework to allow students speak their minds. Okay? Especially when they do not think that what we're saying is logical, reasonable, or even generate the benefit that we claim that benefit can be generated. Give a bit of room. Okay? But you have to explain the rules. Arguing for the sake of arguing is not critical thinking. This is troublemaking. So if you want to argue another view, do the reading. Come back with articles, with scientific evidence that says, and give you the right to dispute what I said to you. So students need to understand, if you want to argue, if you want to come up with saying that what I'm saying is not the truth, then come up with a solution. So what do you think, how to fix it? Coming up with the solution before reporting the problem. This is critical thinking. And promoting that ideology and that way of thinking among the students will help for on the long run. Now, starting early with the introductory courses could make a difference by the time they graduate. All right? That's another trick. If you're teaching graduating courses for students who are junior and senior, and it might be challenging if they're not ready from the beginning. Again, it has to be a bit managed. To effectively encourage invite more scientific research and real case studies to argue the value of theory taught in courses. This one will put a bit of pressure and homework on us. All right? Teaching theory, support by evidence. Bring real-life case studies to support what you're preaching. You will be able to negotiate and sell information to them. If they buy what you sell, then your ability to convince and to nurture critical thinkers is much easier. Because this is how you think. You're giving them the way to think. This is the theory. That's a real case study. No, in the medical field, in educational fields, in pharmacy, in agriculture, in engineering, all of that can be supported by scientific research. It needs some work on our side. We need to be prepared with that material, upgrade the material to meet that. So the students will understand theory, practice, theory, evidence, theory, evidence, theory, evidence. You want to argue? Argue, evidence. Argument without evidence is pointless. So they will get the point. And you need to be able to brainwash them this way. You need to tell them that this is what the critical thinking machine that you need to develop. If you don't have it now, it's expected later. Yeah? To effectively encourage scientific research among students, aimed to contribute to both society and the industry. Now this is an ambitious goal. Very ambitious, and I know, because to provide scientific research and findings to students to support your theory is one thing, and promoting them, helping them to do scientific research themselves is a different level. Do you have the labs for this? If you're talking about the medical field, we're talking millions of dollars investment. Okay? Engineering, do you have those softwares and machines that allow the students to research? In the business management field, do you have the softwares and electrical skills? All of these need to be introduced, and I'm afraid it requires investment. Heavy investment. This one the instructor might suggest, okay? But if the leadership say no budget, it goes nowhere. You see what I mean? Now, research, scientific research in some fields are easier than others. For example, in business management and social sciences, all you need to do is design the methodology of data collection. You have softwares, you have SurveyMonkey, you can collect data, you can use the internet. It's easier. But in other fields, it's impossible without equipment, without adequate labs that actually supports scientific research. Engaging students with scientific research will make it easier for them to realize science is the core. Theory comes from science. We do not make up things. We do not argue for the sake of argument. We need to base our opinions and then support them by empirical evidence. Then we have an argument. Without that, it's noise. It's chaos. But again, not easy, but it's worth pitching that to your dean. Okay? To nurture students' leadership capabilities, instructional material, student-led initiatives, teamwork. How do you design activities to promote leadership skills within your own course? I'll force them to work in groups instead of working individually. All right? Having initiatives and projects that they can work outside the classrooms together. Leading initiatives. Okay? You can always have projects that have a certain load on the assessment, the total score, that promotes that, that helps that. Yes, it's important to test the individual capabilities in exams. That's how it happens. But there has to be some assignments that promotes leadership, promotes teamwork, promotes working effectively with others, which is a very challenging point. Because once they work in a team, now you see chaos. Who is going to lead? Who is responsible of who? And what is being distributed when it comes to the tasks? Who is doing what? Who's good in numbers? Who's going in writing? Who's going in research? They need to experience the chaos of working in a team. By the time they graduate, they know how to do that. They will perfect what they have, and if not, they understand that this is life. They are not supposed to work individually, working towards their own personal benefit. They need to know that socialist approach to teamwork is important. No one likes anyone who works alone, only me. And that is promoted through assignments and your instructional materials as well. So, and these are general suggestions. I'm sure that if you go back and you will think of more, but this is just the first cut. Case study, yes, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
To what extent these criteria should be graded?
Okay. Well, when I show you the case study, the case I've implemented those criteria into two of my courses, two separate courses. I graded them. And hey, you're the king of the queen of the castle. You say what can be graded and what cannot. Because I assume each college has its own competencies. Yeah? Each college cares about certain skills, isn't it? So for you to backward engineer that and infuse it into your assignment is not a crime. It's actually required. Now whether the students like it or not, that's none of their business. This is how you run the show. This is what's expected of them to achieve. These skills must be graded because the school wants it, the department cares about it, and the university recognizes those as a requirement. It's not up to them to feel fair or not fair. No, it's up to you. As long as you're aligned with the college competencies and the learning outcomes, you need to enforce them, not run away from them because the students are too noisy, which is possible. I know. Yeah?